This section covers a quick concept related to geometry, and it's dealing with angles. My main cautionary note here is to not overthink. The main thing is to recognize the meaning of the words that you're seeing and then the relationship between the angles given that word. So what do I mean by that? Well, let me draw a picture here. So we have complementary angles, and I've already written a little equation here. X plus y equals 90. Well, what does that look like? That is a 90-degree angle. Remember, you have to have that little box. We dealt with it when we were talking about the area of a right triangle, right? Or just as a triangle. You have to have that little box, and that indicates a 90-degree angle. So what complementary angles are two angles that added together equal 90. So notice x plus y equals 90. Well, if I take this part, which is x, and I add it to this part, which is y, it creates that 90-degree angle. So that's what a complementary angle is. Supplementary, it's really the same thing, except that it's out of a different total angle. It's 180 degrees. Okay, so complementary is 90, and supplementary is 180. So I'm going to draw my line here. Notice I have my little equation already. So I'll say that x and y, right? So this angle x plus this angle y gives me 180. That's where this little equation comes from. So when you see the word complementary, you know that you're using this formula. If you see the word supplementary, you know that you're using this formula. One equals 90, the other equals 180. So let's go practice this. Okay, now, usually with geometric problems, I like drawing something so I have a visual representation. It just helps me figure out how to lay everything out as I'm trying to figure it out. So here it says, what is the complementary angle to 80 degrees? Well, I know that complementary means that I have two angles that add up to 90 degrees. Okay, so I also know that one of my angles equals 80. I'm going to call it that one. And then some value that I don't know, but I do know that it equals 90, right? So based on what I've drawn here, I have x plus 80. Now it's a little equation that I need to solve. So I'm going to subtract 80 from both sides, and I get that x equals 10 degrees. Now, as always, because we have solved for something, we can check that answer. So we could say, well, does 10, right, plus 80 equal 90? It does. So there's confirmation that, in fact, those are complementary angles. All right, so for 2, it says, are 34-degree and 55-degree angles complementary? Why or why not? So again, complementary is 90 degrees. Two angles that add up to 90 degrees. So I'm going to check and see, well, 34 plus 55. What does that equal? Well, that equals 89. Well, 89 does not equal 90. So they are not complementary, right? In order for them to be complementary, they have to add to 90 degrees, which they don't. So we're going to do a similar thing, but this time with a supplementary angle, right? So again, the key word is supplementary. That means that we're dealing with two angles that add up to 180 degrees. I'm going to say that this equals my 110. Then I have some angle that I don't know. As usual with variables, you can use whatever, right? It's just a value we don't know. I'm sticking with x and y to be consistent, but you could use anything. It does not matter. So I do know that whatever my equation is, it has to equal 180 degrees because it's supplementary. Now I have the value or the angle that I was given plus the angle I don't know, and now I have a little equation that I can solve. So I do minus 110. So y equals 70 degrees. And again, you can add your 70 plus 110 and make sure that it gives you 180 degrees, which it does. So number 4, go ahead and pause the video if you haven't been doing so already and try this one, and then I'll go ahead and do it for you. So here we're given 2 angles. Again, the key word is we're looking at supplementary, so we know that it needs to equal 180 degrees to be supplementary. So it says our 137 degree and 43 degree angles supplementary. So I add these guys together, plus 43, and I get, there's my 10, 8, and 1. So 180 degrees equals 180 degrees. So they are supplementary. It's important on these to show your work instead of just saying, yes, they're supplementary or no, they're not complementary. You have to show the math behind it and then explain why or why not they're either complementary or supplementary.